And we're back. Brett, you're up next.
Excellent.
Brett, you and your team had a huge year in 2020, closing a mind-blowing 692 loans. Where does the bulk of your business come from, and what are you doing to maintain these levels?
Yeah, so 2020 was awesome. Feel very blessed, and I'd say most of our business honestly came from our partners. So our real estate partners, our builder partners, and our past clients.
Okay.
So for a lot of it is just really, as goofy as it sounds, just taking care of them. So having their financials at heart, helping to follow up. I found a lot of times too, people don't know a lot about finance. In America, we don't talk a ton about finance. So finding the right ways to connect with them, help educate them, definitely around the loan, but even just finance in general has really helped to connect that bond for us. So that's been a huge goal of ours, and it's turned out to be very successful. And same way even with our agent partners of, hey, what can we do to potentially help your business as well? Yeah. So I think sometimes in our industry, it seems like a one-way road, which is never great for any relationship. So, what can we do for our clients? What can they do for us? Or what can we do for our partners? What can they do back for us? And that's really helped us to build some great relationships over the years.
That's amazing. I love that answer. 692 loans is a lot for anyone. The question I would have for you, was that a huge increase from, say, 2019, or was that kind of...
It was a big increase. I think 2019 was about 375 units.
Wow, okay.
So definitely a big jump.
Right on.
Yep.
Was that something that you had to staff up for, or did you find that your team was just capable of handling that much of an increase?
It was definitely a staff up. Okay. So quite honestly, I think that was part that helped us. I mean, definitely 2020 was an interesting year for our business where a lot of stars did align.
Sure.
But I do think in hindsight, I've joined a couple of coaching programs of, hey, build it and they will come. Okay. So it's like, okay, sometimes we limit ourselves, or they say a fish will grow to the size of its bowl. Okay. So by us to say, okay, hey, believe in yourself, go ahead and hire the staff, which frees us up. So, sure. I got pushed by my coach to do that, and it was just hire, and then it was, okay, bring more deals in. So that's been something that's definitely maybe a little bit counterintuitive of how once we're busy, we'll hire, and say vice versa, we'll hire, then we become busy.
I never hear that. That's awesome. So your coach was saying this to you?
Correct.
Interesting. And so was your boss okay with that? I mean,
luckily for me, I have a great relationship with our CEO, and he kind of says, hey, Brett, you get to run the region, and as always, you always got to look at the numbers at some point, but I get a lot of leniency to say, okay, hey, here's the direction I'm going in, let's, put this together and see how things pan out.
I love that.
Yeah.
Something else that I noticed, so I was just at your office, obviously, just a few weeks ago. Everyone seems so chill. So Nick, we obviously had a chance to connect, but then the first thing he did was like, allow me to show you around, and started introducing me to everybody on the team. Everyone just seemed almost as if they were in their home, relaxing. Like, hold on a second. Hey, Jeremy, how's it going? Did you create that culture, or are you looking for people who are just that laid back? Kind of walk me through your hiring process and how are you able to accomplish that dynamic?
Great question. So I look back earlier in my career, and something I did not do a good job on was not focusing on someone's personality. Okay. So I realized, okay, hey, if we're a team, we definitely got to work together. So that was the number one goal for me is, honestly, it's okay if you don't have mortgage experience, but if you're the right person, you have the right ethics, you fit well with the team, that's the hire we're going to make. So I definitely have switched how I hire now to almost everyone I've hired in the last year has been green to the industry. Okay. But, they're eager, they want to learn, they have the right culture fit. Sure. We've changed how we interview too. So it's definitely not just Brett anymore. Yeah. It's a lot more on the team to say, okay, hey, if I love the guy, but the team doesn't love him, it's not the right fit. So I realized, okay, hey, even being the boss, if I try to just pull the boss card, it's not going to be the right fit for the team. Yeah. They won't get along with each other. So we've really switched that up. And then I think the other thing that's helped a lot too is from like a training perspective, we have a lot of the team now that's training each other. And even without directly being directed from me on that, it's just, hey, people are getting along so well, they want to help each other succeed. So they're working pretty tight together now, which has been a
Brett, how about new loan officers?
Yep. So really for us is on the new loan officer side, I will rarely hire a new loan officer and just give them the computer and the card versus saying, hey, I want you to work on the team first. And one other piece, again, pushed by my coach that I've changed is for any role you have, you get a start in setup. And then you get to do a little stint in processing. Then you got to do a little stint as an LOA. And then you become this. So I've realized in a lot of our industries, folks don't really, they might get put in the sales role, but they don't know how the back end works.
Right.
And not only does that not help them as a salesperson, but also just connecting with the client or their own understanding. So I remember Dad made me do that too. Hey, you start as copy boy and you go through the ranks. But a lot of it was then you really understand how the industry works. So as you're talking to a client or an agent partner, you can help them to advise, not just on the front, but throughout the transaction.
That's fantastic. I love that. I think that's a great idea, and I've never really heard that before. That's fantastic. Usually, when people jump into a situation as being an LO, I've been an LO for 6 years in past life. That definitely was not the case. It was like, Jeremy, you can talk. Yeah. You dress nice. Sure. Let's give him a nice office and start doing loans.
Totally, yeah. So just a little bit of a different structure, but I think people appreciate it. You know, they learn better. Yeah. But the other big piece for us is, you know, how do you have a long-term employee? Sure. So if you take these guys that are green, say, I'm going to invest the time in you up front, you know, and then they reward you back with the loyalty. So that's been another great thing from a long-term standpoint. I think one thing that, you know, my dad and I are proud of is our main underwriter, Jennifer. She's worked with us for 35 years, so literally as long as I've been alive, which is pretty cool. So, and she, same thing, started as front desk gal, and now she's our head underwriter, which is cool.
Fantastic. How long have you been in the business? You still look young, so, but how long?
I started 2005.
2005, okay,
Yep.
so long time then.
Yep.
Excellent. Right on.
Great.
Are you as successful as you thought that you would be, or is it the other way around? Like, are you kind of mind blown that you're able to pump out 692 loans in a year?
This year, I honestly was amazed. So it's like, you know, I always believed in myself, and, you know, it was great to, you know, do some big numbers before, but it was really cool to see, you know, invest in the team, invest in getting new staff, and I definitely would have not guessed to do that. I remember I always had a little sign in my office that said 200 million, and it was kind of seemed like that's never doable. Yeah. And this year we did like 265. Good. So it was really a cool thing to accomplish, and I think the team to see, hey, guys, even if the goals seem, you know, way out there, you can do it if you want.
Wow. Fantastic. Do you guys have any questions?
How many loan officers do you have?
So just myself, and then I have a bunch of assistants, of course.
Yes.
But it's just so it's our team's about 15 folks now.
Okay.
So I'm the LO, and then I have 4. I call them like a loan partner, but basically like an
Junior LOs.
kind of an LOA, but an assistant role. And then we have 6 processors, an underwriter, and a team captain that kind of helps with the underwriting and the operations side.
So you have in-house, everything's in-house?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
How fast can you close a loan?
Number one question. So, I mean, honestly, I'd say most of our stuff, you know, it naturally is 30 days. Just that's what the contracts we get in. But we just had when we closed in, I think it was 14 days.
Nice.
So, just depends. We have some portfolio loans we can fund. I had a client wanting to buy a flip home, and it was definitely not a normal transaction where there's literally still a tree through the roof. So it was like just a director's portfolio deal. It was like a 7-day close. So I have some unique stuff when we need to make that happen, but you know, most contracts I see come across are somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks.
Excellent. Excellent.
So
Very nice.
I wanted to just go back to what you were talking about, build it and they will come.
Sure.
It's an interesting mindset. John Maxwell's irrefutable laws of leadership, the law of the lid, right? If we take that lid off, then we can just go anywhere. And
Sure.
it's about having that mindset of believing, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to lift this lid off and see where I can go. So I did that with my business too, and it's just, and once you change your mindset, you can just go anywhere. And then just one last comment on your team. I am very particular about who I add to my team because we have such a dynamic team, and we can teach you how to stage, we can teach you how to do logistics, but you've got to fit in with my team. I have I call them elite group of people that are with me, and I'm very particular about who I add to my team. So
We've always said too, people would like to do business with who they know, like, and trust.
Right.
So it's like, hey, if they potentially like me, but my staff doesn't operate the same way, it's hard, you know.
Right.
Or if the staff among themselves don't operate that way, it's just even tougher to have clients or agent partners connect with the team if we don't think and act the same way.
Sure.
So that's been a big piece that's helped out.
Yeah, and that was evident walking in. Like, everyone seemed incredibly relaxed and chill and not uptight whatsoever, which is always nice. Because sometimes in some offices you kind of have that vibe.
Sure.
But everyone seemed very, very relaxed and was able to take their attention off of whatever they were doing to. I don't even think they even realized who they or why they were even saying hi to me. But hi anyways. So that's great.
I know we kind of touched on this a little bit out there, but when it comes to working with an experienced broker, like we've all been in business for a while, we've known a lot of lenders. I'm interested in knowing what's your follow-up and system for keeping in touch with the people that the leads that we send over.
Sure.
How do you handle if you get just tons, like we have, we'll send tons of leads over to our lenders, and sometimes they'll fall through the cracks, or, what happened to this person, and 6 months later, they're using somebody else as a broker too. So.
Sure. No, and that's a big one. So on our team, it's speed to lead. So it's like, guys, for like my LP1 roles, the assistants, there's one thing that's important: call the leads. And I go, hey guys, even if I tell you to work up an estimate or send a pre-approval letter, calling your leads is more important first. So that's just a big one for us. And I say, hey, we really got to make sure, because at the end of the day, we want to show our partners we care, and our clients, of course. But secondly, this is our partner's commission. This is their lifestyle too.
Right.
So it's like, hey, we're not just having a client here. This is our partner's potentially livelihoods. We really want to show that. So I mean, it sounds very basic, but it's just every single morning, my basic assistant prints out a lead sheet for every single loan officer or LP1 on the team, and they just simply say, okay, here's where they are. And then I sit down with them and literally just do a review daily. Say, okay, cool, we called John yesterday. Where's he at? Do I need to follow up? What's going on? So it takes a little bit of time, but I've realized leads are the number one thing. You know, my coach now, his number one thing he says is, today's leads is the best representation of tomorrow's closings. So it's like, hey, if we don't focus on our leads or track our leads, we're not magically just going to close loans.
Right.
So
What's in your pipeline, and that's we do the same thing where it's a
Yep.
ABC, which is 60 or 30, 60, 90. That's when you get your next paycheck, and it's a time clock basically. So
Yep.
you're tracking when you're going to get paid next, really.
Exactly, yeah. So then a lot of that's come down to just very basic, simple steps of, you know, you guys kind of alluded to of just, you know, enjoying the grind the same day, make our calls, do our pieces. So I'm a pretty routine guy. You know, a lot of people joke about my stuff, like breakfast, same time, same food, same everything every day. But it works well for me. So it's like that's something I breathe into the team of, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to come in, we'll do our team meeting, some role playing, then we're going to do our leads. And it's like no matter what happens, what fires there are, we have other people to take care of that. Here's what we're going to work on. And I think that's been something we've done a much better job the last couple of years on, and seeing some good results from that.
Excellent. Phenomenal. Great job.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Are you doing the core?
I am.
It sounded
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
And that's been a big thing for us. So I joined 2 years ago.
Okay.
And definitely seen
You
a
love
huge
it?
difference in the business. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
Yeah. No, it's a great community where there's lots of sharing. You know, I was blown away to see how open people were to share everything they've ever made or done for us.
Yeah.
And then just having someone to push you. And I
Right.
think about it like, you know, we talked about this a lot in life of, you know, as you grow up, you have a teacher or you got your parents.
Yeah.
Then you go to college, you got, you know, professors. Then you go to the gym, you got trainers. But then all of a sudden you get business school. Okay, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? It's like
Right.
you've always had someone to be there to encourage you, to push you. So it's like, oh, it makes perfect sense when you think about it that way. So it's like, you know, I never really thought about it that way. But adding that in was a great way of just having somebody else from an outside lens looking at you and say, hey, here's really what we want you to focus on. Or even as you get through a weird time like COVID, don't worry, we're going to be fine. Here's what we're doing to adapt, and just have someone to connect with.
Yeah.
I think coaching is one of the most. I respect people that take coaching, and I do coaching myself. And people that are in my coaching program, I feel so comfortable referring them business, you know, out of state and whatnot. If they're going to invest into their business and spend the time and the money to do that, I totally am confident they'll take care of our clients too.
Most,
So.
most definitely. Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. That's why we do this, folks. Great information. Great information. Thank you so much. Sure. Well, no other questions? Okay.